This was no attack against a person. It was an attack on the institution and us and the state. And they were like, correct. Absolutely, Lord Irwin. When asked why he didn't defend himself in court, Bhagat Singh allegedly proclaimed, it is the duty of the martyrs to die for the cause. Can't get over how he was this 23 and he managed to do all of this and also read so many books. The man, the legend, the mad lad, revolutionary, overall kind of interesting nerdy person also, Bhagat Singh. Yes, he was the second of 7 children of Kishan Singh Sandhu, a farmer and political activist, and Vidyavati. Kishan Singh and his brother Ajit Singh were involved in politics, including the Canal Colonization Bill agitations and Gadar movement. Now, this is important because the Gadar movement will shape a lot of Bhagat Singh's worldviews. The Gadar movement essentially was formed in 1913 in America, okay, in California, and it began as a coalition of expatriate Punjabis dedicated to raising money and support for the overthrow of British rule in India. Its early leaders include 2 Sikhs and a Muslim, and the masthead of its publication bore the names Ram, Allah and Nanak. So it was a secular organization and it was collecting funds from NRIs to fund political activities in India. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? At the age of 15, Bhagat Singh spoke of the martyrs of 1915 and 1916, and especially of Sardar Kartar Singh, the central figure of the first Lahore conspiracy case. So, Sardar Kartar Singh was also a part of the Gadar movement, and he was a big inspirational figure for his entire family growing up, right? And Bhagat Singh was very influenced by him. So, he came to India, Kartar Singh, in 1915 with the aim of organizing armed revolt against the British rule. Fearless fighter and a superb organizer, Kartar Singh was a man admired even by his enemies. Imagine when Bhagat Singh was 15, Kartar Singh was very active in those areas, and he was also like, his family was influenced by him, like the Gadar movement and the revolutionary activities during that time. Now, in his early days, Bhagat Singh studied in the village school at Banga till 4th grade, and in 1917 they moved to Lahore. Afterwards, he attended the Dayanand Anglo-Vedic High School in Lahore, which the Arya Samaj had operated. Okay, this is important, right? Because it comes back later as well. All teachers commented on him for being a brilliant student. Now, Kartar Singh Sarba, prominent Gadarite, is martyred in 1915. So he basically, again, as I said, was a big influence. During this time, he was martyred also. In 1917, the Russian Revolution was happening, and it was a chaotic period where frequent mutinies, protests and strikes were done. Again, I'm building this context right now because Bhagat Singh पे इस सब का influence होने वाला है बाद में. Many socialist and other leftist political organizations were struggling for influence within the provisional government and the Soviets. This is in Russia. Notable factions included the Social Democrats or Mensheviks, Social Revolutionaries and Anarchists, as well as the Bolsheviks, a far left party led by Vladimir Lenin. Lenin was doing his thing while our friend Bhagat Singh was 10. Now, when he was 12, this is on 13th April 1919, Jallianwala Bagh massacre happens. Our friend Bhagat Singh went there at the age of 12 when it happened. He went there a day after General Reginald Dyer opened fire on unarmed civilians in the garden. The shooting happened till the firing squad ran out of ammunition, leaving 374 killed and more than 1,200 wounded without aid. So this is a little bit of a detail which I cannot verify honestly. Allegedly, Bhagat Singh took some blood-soaked soil in a jar from the place and brought it home. Can neither confirm nor deny this. But yeah, this at the age of 12 has to be traumatic. 1920, at the age of 13, allegedly he participated in Gandhi's non-cooperation movement at the age of 13 as a child. Basically influenced by Gandhi during that time at the age of 13. So Ram Prasad Bismil, who will come back later, has gone underground at this point, okay? He has looted the British twice and he has dramatically jumped into the Yamuna and gone underground. This is when Bhagat Singh is 13, by the way. Ram Prasad Bismil will become a very important character later in his arc when the Kakori Kand happens, okay? Because this man has been gathering skills at this point, okay? And now he's gone underground. Now in 1921, at the age of 14, he joined the National College in Lahore. Now this National College in Lahore is also interesting. It was founded by the great reformist and freedom fighter Lala Lajpat Rai after Gandhi gave a call to boycott British institutions. So non-cooperation movement had started and Lala Lajpat Rai was like, okay, if we are going to boycott everything, then let us boycott educational institutions also run by the Brits. And they started National College. That is where Bhagat Singh went. And that is where he met Sukhdev and few of his other colleagues. Can you call them colleagues? Comrades. Yes. Apparently, Bhagat Singh was very disappointed when Gandhiji called off the non-cooperation movement. Now, in 1922, when he was 15, something called Chauri Chaura incident happens, which was a violent incident. It was a reaction by the crowd against the Britishers for obviously shooting their fellow civilians. It was a violent reaction. On one hand, there is a Satyagraha movement going on, which is supposed to be non-violent, which is propagated by Gandhi. And then this happens. Interestingly enough, this split, I think, happened during this time. And when the non-cooperation movement was called off, a lot of people got pissed off because they thought it was justified. The violent incident in Chauri Chaura was justified. Again, Bhagat Singh was 15. I have to say his age because you have to think about 15-year-olds that you know to realize what was happening then. Now, Bhagat Singh and his fellow revolutionaries were not in agreement with Gandhi's thing. So the disappointment was mounting. And I think this was one of the moments when it got solidified. Now, yahan pe Bhagat Singh had met Ajoy Ghosh. Okay, he was a close comrade and was co-accused in the Lahore conspiracy case later. Ajoy Ghosh, who had written about meeting Bhagat Singh. He says, I believe it was sometime in 1923 that I met Bhagat Singh for the first time. A young boy of about my age. I was 15 at that time. He was introduced to me by B.K. Dutt in Kanpur. Tall and thin, rather shabbily dressed, very quiet. He seemed a typical village lad, lacking smartness and self-confidence. I did not think very highly of him at that time and told Dutt so when he was gone. A few days later, I saw him again. We had a long talk. Those were the days when we used to dream boyish dreams of revolution. It seemed around the corner. A question of a few years at most. Bhagat Singh did not seem so confident about it. I have forgotten his words, but I remember his speaking about the torpor and apathy that prevailed in the land, the difficulty in arousing the people, the heavy odds against us. My first impressions about him seemed confirmed. Then they started talking about Sardar Kartar Singh. And turns out, Ghosh was a big admirer of Kartar Singh also. Neither of us had met Kartar Singh. He had already been hanged when we were yet kids, but we knew how he, then a mere youth of 18 and a comrade of Baba Sohan Singh Bhakna, Baba Roor Singh and Prithvi Singh Azad, had become the undisputed leader of the Ghadar party. He came to India in 1916 with the aim of organizing armed revolt against the British rule. I literally worshipped him, and to hear one talk inspiringly of my hero was a great pleasure. I began to feel a liking for Bhagat Singh. Before he left for Kanpur, we were close friends, though I never ceased to make fun of what appeared to me his pessimistic outlook. I told you, sir, Kartar Singh will come back again. So just think about it, right? We went from when he was young, he was influenced by Kartar Singh. Oh, also he went to an Arya Samaj school. An Arya Samaj school that's special because that was also an attempt to essentially go against the British in education. The Russian Revolution was happening during that time, so communism was actually coming to the fore, but in a very revolutionary format. And Kartar Singh was there, who was martyred. Again, a young lad of 18. So he was getting inspired by a person who was also young and did armed revolt. Okay, in 1924, when he was 17, he joined the Hindustan Republican Association. Okay, now there is a sidetrack. We have to go down a little bit. This is basically the timeline of the HRA, which later became the HSRA. It was launched in 1920. Non-cooperation movement happened in 1920. Yeah, Bhagat Singh was inspired by its calls for Indians. Now, Ram Prasad Bismil, again, remember I told you Ram Prasad Bismil will become an important character. Ram Prasad Bismil and Ashfaqullah Khan were active in Congress party, attending meetings and debates, including the session where Purna Swaraj resolution was passed. Again, this was during non-cooperation. This was in 1921. Gandhi suspended the non-cooperation movement after Chauri Chaura. Bismil and his group of young activists, including Ashfaqullah Khan, opposed Gandhi at the 1922 Gaya session of Indian National Congress. Remember when I told you there was a split that happened? This is that split. When Gandhi stood firm on his decision, Chittaranjan Das, the party president at the time, resigned. Now, in January 1923, a wealthy faction formed a new Swaraj party led by Motilal Nehru. Nehru is dead. And Chittaranjan Das, while the youth group established a revolutionary party under Bismil's leadership. Bismil drafted the party's constitution in Allahabad in 1923 and it was called the Hindustan Republican Association. Hindustan Republican Association was significantly influenced by the Russian Revolution of 1917. And now there is a melding happening right now. Bhagat Singh allegedly joined the HRA during the month of December 1924 and his participation was minimal till 1926. Now here, HRA started getting organized, getting arms and also going into a bit of a dacoity mode. They did revolutionary activities including arms training and procurement of weapons. This year was marked by intense preparations for uprisings. And 1925 is when the Kakori train robbery happens. Back to our timeline now. 1925-18, Bhagat Singh was working under Ganesh Shankar Vidyarthi in a Hindi weekly Pratap. While at Kanpur, he wrote this article signing it as Ek Punjabi Yuvak about the martyrs of Banber Akali movement and it was published in Pratap on March 15th, 1926. So basically the article is about Sikh revolutionaries and he's basically talking about their exploits, basically telling people who they really were because they were hanged and their bodies were not really treated well. Sardar Karam Singh Ji, Sardar Dhanna Singh Ji and Sardar Uday Singh Ji stepped forward. Just keep aside the question of its propriety for a moment and imagine the scene when they took the oath. We will sacrifice our all in the service of the country. We swear to die fighting but not go to prison. Now the thing is, these 6 people were also a part of some protests. Now the only difference is that when they started protesting and Gandhi said that you have to court arrest, they refused. They were like, we will not get arrested. And they tried to escape and they started arming themselves to first protect themselves. And then what happened is that they became a sort of a gang which was going around Punjab and everybody was very afraid of them. That's what Bhagat Singh says, that all these 6 people, whenever they went to places, everybody was in reverence that, oh my God, these people are the ones who are the real revolutionaries fighting against the British. And the Brits also kept away from them. Ultimately, they were made an example of. And Bhagat Singh was very influenced by that. Now, March 1926, he was 19. Bhagat Singh founded the Naujawan Bharat Sabha. Now, Naujawan Bharat Sabha was a left-wing association that sought to foment revolution against the British Raj by gathering together workers and peasant youths by disseminating Marxist ideals. It was the public face of the HRA. HRA ke under he formed this. The organization merged with All India Youth Federation of the Communist Party later. Manifesto. So this is what the Naujawan Bharat Sena was formed for. The future program of preparing the country will begin with the motto, revolution by the masses and for the masses. This is a very difficult task. Though our leaders have offered many suggestions, none had the courage to put forward and carry out successfully and concrete scheme of awakening the masses. Young men, do not get disheartened when you find such a great battle to fight single-handed with none to help you. You must realize your own latent strength. Rely on yourselves and success is yours. Remember the words of the great mother of James Garfield, which she spoke to her son while sending him away penniless, helpless and resourceless to seek his fortune. 9 times out of 10, the best thing that can happen to a young man is to be thrown overboard to swim or sink for himself. Glory to the mother who said those words and glory to those who will rely on them. You can see why this was being formed. He was trying to get the young people angry. Essentially, he kept talking about how you need to sacrifice yourself for the nation. Let's talk about the Kakori train robbery. In 1925, HRA members, including Bismil and Ashfaqullah Khan, they carried out a Kakori train robbery to steal government funds and finance their revolutionary activities. The crackdown after the Kakori train robbery of 1925 led to the arrest of many key members of the Hindustan Republican Association. Again, as I said, Ram Prasad Bismil had the skills. He went underground after jumping into the Yamuna. Remember, he went underground? He came out, HRA form kiya, he was doing arms training, etc. and then did this. There was a train which was going and passing through Kakori, full of treasure. Like literally, it was full of treasure. It was full of arms and monies. It was going to deposit it in the British treasury. And these people went all daku on them, stopped the train, looted it, took the stuff out and broke the lock. Apparently, Ashfaqullah Khan is the one who broke the lock, stole everything and ran away. Now, a massive crackdown started by the British because obviously, खजाना चोरी हो गया है. Crackdown after Kakori train robbery of 1925 led to the arrest of key members. So all of these people were arrested. Kakori conspiracy trial formally began in May 1926. Bhagat Singh is said to have begun his involvement in HRA during that time. The trial concluded with the verdict delivered on August 1927. In December 1927, after the trial, Ram Prasad Bismil, Ashfaqullah Khan, Rajendra Lahiri and Roshan Singh were executed by hanging, weakening the leadership of HRA. Now, this is where Bhagat Singh goes all Hulk. It is a big pivotal moment in his life also. He is now a part of the HRA. The main leadership of all of it, basically, everybody is like extremely depressed at this point of time. Oh, यहाँ पे देखो HSRA form हो रहा है. This is the death of Lala Lajpat Rai happening, okay? In 1928, the Simon Commission was visiting India. Simon Commission was established to suggest changes to the Government of India Act. So the commission, when it came to India in 1928, there was a protest that was led against Simon Commission. October 28th, they were like, Simon, go back, Simon, go back. And then there was a lathi charge. As you can see, it is happening niche as we speak. Now, Lala Lajpat Rai is getting hit brutally. And on 17th November, he succumbed to his injuries and developed complications after that assault. And the Brits said, हमारी गलती नहीं है. Well, क्या कर सकते हैं? He was old. And that pissed people off, obviously. Now, यहाँ पे Bhagat Singh, Shivram Rajguru, Sukhdev Thapar and Chandrasekhar Azad come together to plot the assassination of the Superintendent of Police of Lahore, James A. Scott. So, what happens is that B.K. Dutt, he is the one who is supposed to point out when Scott comes out of the police building. And what ends up happening is that he points at the wrong person. Yeah, now he'll come out. I can't play the audio, but I can always narrate it. Okay, this is Saunders coming out. Now, Saunders is the deputy SP. He's not Scott. Dishkau. Death. Dishkau, more death. And now run. They also killed another police officer, by the way, which they actually show in the movie. Chandrasekhar Azad shoots this other Indian police officer. Now he will shoot. Oh. Now while they are running, let me show you their escape route. Yes, there is an escape route. When our nerd friends did a deep dive, they really went deep. So it happened here. So this is the district police office. This is where it happened. And then they ran. There are like just two faint lines that you can see. So this is 1, 2 and 3. So this was, I think, Chandrasekhar Azad who just ran SA, went down, went through the collector boarding house, went SA, went down, went SA, niche, and then ran away from here. Okay, that's how they went. Is what happened afterwards, okay? So this is a pamphlet essentially by the Hindustan Socialist Republican Army, and if you can read it a little bit, Saunders is dead, Lala Lajpat Rai is avenged. So even though they killed Saunders instead of Scott, they still took credit for it. Long live the revolution, Inqilab Zindabad. Basically, this is where they are declaring and taking responsibility for the assassination of Saunders. And these pamphlets were just thrown around everywhere. Notice, it is a matter of great regret that a respected leader of 30 crores of people was attacked by an ordinary police officer like JP Saunders and met with his death at his mean hands. This national insult was a challenge to young men. Today, the world has seen that the people of India are not lifeless. Their blood has not become cold. They can lay down their lives for the country's honor. The proof of this has been given by the youth who are ridiculed and insulted by the leaders of their own country. ये important है, this what is happening. Tyrant government beware. Do not hurt the feelings of the oppressed, suffering people of this country. Stop your devilish ways. Despite all your laws preventing us from keeping arms and despite all your watchfulness, people of this country would continue to get pistols and revolvers. Even if these arms are not adequate in numbers for an armed revolution, they would be sufficient for avenging the insult to the country's honor. Even if our own people condemn us and ridicule us, and if foreign foreign government subjects us to any amount of repression, we shall all be ever ready to teach a lesson to foreign tyrants who insult our national honor. Despite all opposition and repression, we shall carry forward this call for revolution, and even we go to the scaffold for being hanged, we shall continue to shout, long live revolution. Okay, now we are sorry to have killed a man, but this man was a part of cruel, despicable and unjust system, and killing him was a necessity. This man has been killed as an employee of the British government. This government is the most oppressive government in the world. We are sorry for shedding human blood, but it becomes necessary to bathe the altar of revolution with blood. Our aim is to bring about a revolution which will end all exploitation of man by man. Long live revolution. This was signed Balraj. Now Balraj is the codename of Chandrasekhar Azad, Commander-in-Chief, HSRA. 18 December 1928. But they escaped. Durga Bhabi helped Bhagat Singh and his comrades escape after killing Saunders and her role in the assassination. Bhagat Singh and Rajguru, both carrying loaded revolvers, left the house early next day. Dressed in western attire, Bhagat Singh cut his hair, shaved his beard and wore a hat over cropped hair. And carrying Devi's sleeping child, Singh and Devi passed as young couple while Rajguru carried their luggage. At the station, Singh managed to conceal his identity while buying ticket, and the three boarded the train heading to Kanpur. In 1929, again, they still haven't been caught. Now Bhagat Singh, his life is going to escalate from this point forward, okay? April 8, 1929, at the age of 21, Bhagat Singh and B.K. Dutt enter the Central Legislative Assembly, which is currently the parliament. Okay, the old parliament actually, the circular one, the one that doesn't leak. That was the Central Legislative Assembly back then. They enter and they throw bombs in there. On the surface of it, it seems like a very terrorist activity. And they were painted as that as well. Visitors gallery, they are in. Now, this was the time when they were passing the Public Safety Bill and the Trade Disputes Bill. And they were making a point because of also the legislations that were being passed. So now they're throwing the bomb and they're throwing it in the middle. They specifically chose a spot which will not hurt anyone. They didn't want to hurt anyone, so they chose like the well in the middle and unoccupied benches. And B.K. Dutt was throwing red pamphlets. Now, the red pamphlet, I'll also show you what it is. He fired 2 shots in the air and then surrendered his gun and courted arrest. So both of them courted arrest because they wanted to use the platform of the court and the case as a way to sort of propagate their message. And the reason why they wanted to do this also was because of their earlier revolutionary activities by the HRA, the Kakorika and all the things that had happened. Bunch of leaders in India had started painting them as violent actors and misguided youth and also terrorists in some cases. Especially, see, now this is happening. Gandhi is cursing him right now. This is Nehru cursing him. They did not agree with the way that Bhagat Singh was doing things. There was a big difference between their ideology and Bhagat Singh's ideology. Where they got the bomb, so they found a person in Kolkata who could manufacture bombs, and they had bomb making factories there after a point. In Lahore and Kolkata both. They made their own bombs. So the Trade Disputes Bill, essentially in Mota Mota, is a bill which made protesting illegal for unions. They could not participate in political activities. Unions couldn't do it. And also they were held liable in case while they were protesting something they damage, some property of corporations that they damaged, which was the East India Company also. And also the bureaucrats were told not to join unions. Otherwise they lose their jobs. So that was the Trade Disputes Bill, which was being considered during that time, which was in 1929. And the other was Public Safety Bill. Now, Public Safety Bill is a lot like the UAPA. Basically, they just wanted to arrest union people and protesters and incarcerate them. Just typical authoritarian stuff, right? Those two bills were being considered, and that is what Bhagat Singh wanted to oppose also. So they message. This is the red pamphlet. This is the one that B.K. Dutt was throwing from the assembly, showering people with it. It takes a loud voice to make the deaf hear, is what the pamphlet says. Many people don't realize this, but most revolutionaries throughout history have been called a terrorist by the general public. It is only later people refer to them as legends. That's true, Ivana. When it was happening, when these activities were happening, they were like casteized. They were like, "Arey, violence, violence, violence against state, violence against violence, violence." Imagine yourself as a 21-year-old walking into parliament. No, first, no, sorry. Before that, you do an assassination. And then you walk into parliament with made bombs, blow it up. And why do you do it? Because you want to argue your own case in the court as a 21-year-old and explain to the world why you are doing what you are doing and what is the reason behind your violence and protest and revolutionary activities. 21. That puts things in perspective, honestly. A little bit. It's just, at this point, I was wondering that this 21-year-old was confident enough that he will be able to convince like British judges and people that whatever he was doing was being done for a reason. Not the murder case. Bhagat Singh got named in the case later. Oh, yeah, of course. Like, first he was arrested in the assembly bombing case, and then the Saunders case came later. They found out that he was also involved in the Saunders case, so they slapped him with that also. Bhagat Singh and his friends were furious at the discrimination between Indian and British prisoners. In order to make demands of preventing forced labor, better hygiene, and edible food, they started a hunger strike, allegedly inspired by Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, this I don't know. Allegedly. Bhagat Singh would go on and be on strike for 116 days. And they force-fed him. In the last days, he was so weak that he had to be presented in court handcuffed to a stretcher. So, they sent him to jail. He observes that the political prisoners are being treated like trash. So, he makes an appeal saying that the political prisoners deserve some rights. The people who have fought against the state or are fighting against the state, they need certain rights. Primarily, they need reading stuff, they need books, they need writing material, they need toiletries, they need better clothes. He was asking for humane treatment in prison, and he did a fast for 116 days. Now, the trial begins. Well, you will see him on chat. He's a moderator and he has been insane enough to make this for us. He went through the entire case that Bhagat Singh fought in court for the bombing, and he has given us like a brief review of what is there with proper screenshots also. See? The statement of defense, while it makes a political statement on both the British establishment and the Indian leaders, is also a well-crafted legal defense of the actions of the two accused, right? Now, I'm not going to too much detail here. It can be viewed by you also later. Bhagat Singh and B.K. Dutt were charged with the violation of the Indian Penal Code and Explosive Substance Act because bombs. Bhagat Singh and B.K. Dutt submitted a joint written statement in response to the charges. Crown versus Bhagat Singh and B.K. Dutt. So this is where the two questions that they were dealing with. Were the bombs thrown in the assembly chamber? And if so, why? So these were the two questions that they were going to consider in court. Bhagat Singh and Dutt admitted to throwing the bombs and calling out the perjury lies of the persecution witness. So they also said that the witnesses were coerced into giving evidence against them. To the first half of the question, our reply is an affirmative, but some of the so-called eyewitnesses have perjured themselves, and since we are not denying our liability to the extent and such as it is, let our statement about them be the judge for what it is worth. Officers who visited us in jail that Lord Irwin, in his address to a joint session of the two houses after the event in question, which is the bombing, described it as an attack directed against no individual but against the institution itself. We readily recognize that the true significance of the incident has been correctly appreciated. So, Lord Irwin goes to these houses and says, oh, this was no attack against a person. It was an attack on the institution and us and the state. And they were like, correct. Absolutely, Lord Irwin. Bang on. You see what we did there. High level troll. I like this. Like, I think Lord Irwin must be like, oh, I will make it sound very big by saying that, oh no, individuals to chote hote hai, but this is an institution that was targeted. And Bhagat Singh was like, absolutely, boss. That's exactly what we are doing. They are next to none in our love of humanity, and so far from having any malice against any individual, we hold human life sacred beyond words. Singh and Dutt went on to lengths to deny critics who called them pseudo-socialist perpetrators of dastardly outrages and lunatics. Yeah, that's what they were being called during that time. They made a big statement basically saying that the state is doing violence against the common Indian and the laborers, right? Again, influenced by the communist ideology preached by Lenin. They wanted perpetual revolution. Inqilab Zindabad, long live revolution. The reason why they added socialist in the HRA? Yeah. We have used the expression utopian nonviolence in the foregoing para, which requires some explanation. They believed that utopian nonviolence was futile and rising generations had been convinced of this beyond a shadow of doubt. Again, trying to justify the nonviolence versus violence ideological stream. According to Singh and Datta, force when aggressively applied was violence and morally unjustifiable, but when in furtherance of a legitimate cause, it was morally justifiable. They also made a self-defense argument, I believe, that when the oppressed is fighting against the oppressor, it is not violence. It can be looked at as self-defense as well. Even though violence is employed, the violence is being employed because the oppressor wouldn't listen to you otherwise. Listen, deaf, large sounds, bomb in the assembly. Yeah, same. Yeah. The new movement of which Singh and Dutt gave warning was inspired by the ideals of Guru Gobind Singh, Shivaji, Kamal Pasha, Riza Khan, Washington, Garibaldi, Lafayette, and Lenin. Since both the alien government and the Indian public leaders had shut their eyes and closed their ears to the violence of the new movement, they felt the need to give a warning which could not be unheard. The bombs were deliberately crafted and thrown in a way so that they don't cause any serious injury. The damage caused was to some furniture. Persecution claimed that it was a miracle that no injury or death was caused was the effect of the deliberate intentions of the ones who threw it. In accordance with the stated objective, they surrendered themselves for punishment. Now, October 19, 1929, Second Punjab Students Conference was held at Lahore. Now, यहाँ पे Bhagat Singh was getting a lot of support because he was jailed, he was doing a hunger strike, and he was also doing a case. And he was expressing his ideology of revolutionary ideas and why the young people need to rise against the British powers. So, man was becoming very popular. Now, this was happening, the Second Punjab Students Conference, which was under the presidency of Subhash Chandra Bose. Bhagat Singh grabbed the opportunity and sent his message asking the students to plunge wholeheartedly into the coming movement of 1930-31 and carry the message of revolution to the country's remotest corners. It was jointly signed with B.K. Dutt. The message was read in open session. It received thunderous applause from the students with slogans of Bhagat Singh Zindabad. This is the message. It's a short one. Comrades, today, we cannot ask the youth to take to pistols and bombs. Today, students are confronted with a far more important assignment. In the coming Lahore session, the Congress is to give call for a fierce fight for the independence of the country. The youth will have to bear a great burden in these difficult times in the history of the nation. It is true that students have faced death at the forward positions of the struggle for independence. Will they hesitate this time in proving their same staunchness and self-confidence? The youth will have to spread this revolutionary message to the far corner of the country. They have to awaken crores of slum dwellers of the industrial areas and villagers living in worn-out cottages so that we will be independent and the exploitation of man by man will become an impossibility. Punjab is considered politically backward even otherwise. This is also the responsibility of the youth. Taking inspiration from the martyr Yatindranath Das, and with boundless reverence for the country, they must prove that they can fight with steadfast resolve in this struggle for independence. Yeah. Very powerful. Very. Like, I read this and I was like, holy shit, crazy. And of course, it received thunderous applause from the students with deserves. Now, Bhagat Singh is an insanely intelligent nerd friend. Like, he's he's like mega nerd, okay? And this is the list of books that Bhagat Singh read in jail. Foreign literature, total books under this section 143. Irish, British, European, American, Russian. Look at this. Irish, British, Charles Dickens, G.B. Shaw, which is George Bernard Shaw, by the way. So lots of philosophy, lots of fiction also, by the way, he read. This is Bernard Russell, John Locke, two treatises of government, Oscar Wilde. Now we are at European literature. Karl Marx. He read the entire Capital Communist Manifesto before the court of jury of Colo, Civil War in France. Rousseau, Victor Hugo, Hegel, of course, Philosophy of Rights, Life of Napoleon Bonaparte, American literature. Upton Sinclair, Emma Goldman. Russian literature, Leo Tolstoy. Oh, I think all of Leo Tolstoy, Dostoevsky. So you can see his influences here. This is called being productive. Yes, Atharva, exactly. Giga Chad, Nerd Bhagat Singh, Leon Trotsky. All the greats. K.T. Shah, Russian experiment. He was also a member of the Constituent Assembly debates, by the way. K.T. Shah. He was the person who spoke the third most. Also a Giga Chad nerd. Now these are Indian literature, total 159. He spoke and read 5 languages. English, Hindi, Punjabi, Urdu and Bengali. And also he read some Marathi. And all of these have different scripts, by the way. And he read books in all of them. English, of course, he read Young India. Young India is Mahatma Gandhi's magazine. And he read that one. Modern Review and The People. Books. Mahatma Gandhi, he read Home Rule, Hind Swaraj. Rowlatt, Report of Sedition Committee. Babar Akali Case, Lala Hardayal. Lots of other books. Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. M.K. Gandhi, Hind Swaraj. Guru Gobind Singh. Munshi Premchand. Lala Lajpat Rai, Ram Prasad Bismil. Ram Prasad Bismil was a poet, by the way. So he wrote a lot of poems. And he wrote anonymously earlier. Later they found out it was Ram Prasad Bismil who was writing these revolutionary poems. Lokmanya Tilak, Veer Savarkar. This I saw and I was like, very interesting. Because Savarkar was one of the first people who documented the 1857 revolt. Sipahi Vidro. Pehla Azadi Sangram. So he read about that. He read Tolstoy in Hindi also. Gurmukhi, Punjabi. Then Urdu. Bengali, Prabhash Kumar Mukherjee, Sachinder Nath Sanyal. And Marathi. Now this, I was like, wait, did he speak Marathi? Then I realized that script is same, right? Hindi and Marathi ka script is same. So maybe he tried. I don't know. Crazy. He what? So he wrote a giant essay, by the way, called Why Am I an Atheist? I think this is a to read, basically. I will not go through this too much. I feel like you need to read it once to understand what he meant by God, what he thought about it, etc. And his idea of atheism in general. So Bhagat Singh was an atheist. He was also a communist. He believed in perpetual revolution to do equal distribution of wealth. Which is a utopian concept, but that was the whole thing about communism. They wanted a perpetual revolution to go on till there is justice in society. May 1st, 1930, at the age of 23, Lord Irwin promulgates the ordinance to set up tribunal to fast track his case. Now, he was all throughout. He was doing his own case. He was doing and then the Saunders case comes in. So they found out that Bhagat Singh was involved in that as well. And so was Sukhdev and Rajguru and Azad and all the things. So they connect the two. Yeah. And then they establish a fast track court to get it over with. Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Rajguru are sentenced to death in October 1930. In February 27th, 1931, Chandrasekhar Azad is killed. So it's actually quite eerie how close the deaths happen. So Chandrasekhar Azad died in Alfred Park in Allahabad. He was surrounded by the police and there was a long shootout. Azad shot himself with the last bullet, ensuring he remains Azad till his last moment. On March 23rd, 1931, at the age of 23, Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev were ordered to be hanged on March 24th, 1931. But hanging was moved forward 11 hours to take place at 7 p.m. on 23rd March 1931. When asked why he didn't defend himself in court, Bhagat Singh allegedly proclaimed, "It is the duty of the martyrs to die for the cause." 2 hours before the execution, his lawyer, Prannath Mehta, arrived to visit Bhagat Singh in his cell. He described the cell as rotten and clustered with grass growing on the floor. Singh, who was 5'10", could barely fit in it. He smiled and asked Mehta, "Did you bring my book, Revolutionary Lenin?" After taking the book, he started reading immediately. Mehta asked whether he would like to send a message to the country. Without running away from the book, Singh said, "Only 2 messages. Samrajyavad Murdabad, Inqilab Zindabad." He also wanted to thank Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose for showing interest in his case. During the time of the execution, Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Rajguru didn't show any signs of regret. They shouted the slogan of Inqilab Zindabad so loud that even the residents near the jail heard it and came out to witness the hanging. When disposing of the bodies, British authorities chose the banks of the Satluj River. They wanted to keep the proceeding quiet but quickly fled the scene, leaving the bodies partially burnt. As a massive crowd approached them. There was a massive turnout of mourners the next day in Lahore, brandishing black flags and bands, after which a proper funeral procession took place in the presence of all 3 martyrs' families. That is how his life ended. Bhagat Singh. What a guy. Ka based aadmi hai, seriously. Can't get over how he was this 23 and he managed to do all of this and also read so many books. What a legend, seriously.